It's the height of summer, and COVID or not, it's difficult to not want to get outside. And as we celebrate TVO's 50th year, we thought it would be a great time to look to the past for some advice on what to do this physically distancing summer. From a segment we taped on Studio 2 way back in 1999, yes, 21 years ago, let's take a look.
Birders are crazy people because we get up before dawn just to see the birds.
I've enjoyed watching the bird watchers a whole lot more than I enjoy watching the birds. The bird watchers are just, they're fascinating. The definition of species birdwatcher is a person who is a little older, usually very well educated. They have money to spend. They're affluent. They do research before they come. They actually know everything about the place that they're visiting, the things that they're going to see before they get here. No, they're not spur-of-the-moment people. Listers are about 2% of all of the bird watchers that I see. From the time that they were very young, have looked at birds and have kept a life list. They keep records as well, the size and the where and the weather and what it was and all that kind of thing. And they do that for their whole lives. Yeah. They're not interested in the social aspect of this hobby, this bird watching. It's a job. A lister does not share information. They're very anal, and I can't say that on TV. Yes, you can. This is one of the birder personalities that I run into daily here at Point Pelee National Park, and it's Gary Horton, and he's a sharer of information.
Birding is a gift. It's a gift from above, and you handle it. You either accept it or you don't, and you have to share it. That's possible that if I was given a gift of good eyesight and an ability to get it across to people, that I was chosen to spread the word that birding is an easy way of relieving stress and having a real great time.
No, it's a different one.
Oh, sure it is.
Sure it is. I've only waited 2 days to see this thing.
Can you tell me what kind of birder you are?
Yes, I'm a female red-headed weekend dabbler.
We use the term psychotic because we're going chasing every bird. Been to Venezuela, Ecuador, Africa, and Kenya.
Avid would be a word that comes to mind. I'm an avid birder.
An amateur, rank amateur.
I have a slight strain of lister. You can be a mixed birder, a slight strain of lister, but really I do like the experience. I just like looking at birds.
I'd still describe myself as a birding enthusiast. I used to list years ago, but I stopped doing that. Now I just come to enjoy.
There's absolutely a lister backlash. A lot of people now won't even admit that they do it. Even this group here, which as you can see is really compulsive. Look at the size of the equipment. Even they're not going to say they're listers. They're going to say that they're just out here for the experience.
My wife says I'm a fanatic birder. See, bird expert, it says.
Then we have the people like me who are 50 and have more time on their hands and have, I don't play tennis anymore because my knees just can't stand it anymore. And so I do bird watching because it's easy to do. I can sit on a bench when I get tired and I can still watch the birds. So it just fits into my lifestyle.
The part of it I like, as far as a baby boomer, we lived through an era where we saw a lot of these species almost become decimated.
Hey, there's some cormorants, another success story. 20 years ago, they were in pretty serious decline. Now they've come back.
We got a lot of them off the point there. just to the east.
Now we see that, they're doing a lot better, doing quite well, as a matter of fact, some of them. So that part of it, I think, is kind of gratifying to see.
Most birders are very generous, good-natured. They love to share their information with people. Matter of fact, we have birding hotlines in the area.
This is a birding update of the Essex County Field Naturalist Club. A hooded warbler is suspected of nesting somewhere along the road between the tip and the halfway spot. Probably the best bird of the week is a snowy egret seen over in Wheatley, right near the water tower, little marsh there. Brewster's warbler and 2 blue-winged warblers were reported on Friday over at Spring Garden. Until next time, good birding.
A small percentage of birdwatchers upset other birders by invading the privacy, the space of the tiny little bird that they're looking at. They're upsetting the bird. I mean, it's just landed here and it's really pooped out, and it just wants to be left alone and feed and then get on with its journey.
People don't tend to think of birding as a high-risk sport, but there are some physical dangers that are attached. The biggest one is what's known as warbler's neck. Because warblers like to work high up in trees and because they move around a lot, you end up like this all day and you come home and your neck is paralyzed and in great pain.
The biggest danger is probably sunburn.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the next danger is maybe just getting a wet foot.
You get birder rage when everyone else has seen something that you need for your life list and you can't see it. I get birder rage when I can hear something that sounds spectacular and it's hiding.
Most bird watchers tend to be very good-humored, good-natured people.
Just don't be too cutting and rude about birders in this program because we're nice people. As the years creep up on you, aerobics will pass and birding will come.
One of the voices you'll recognize from that throwback item on birding is Suanne Kelman. She was, still is, an avid birder. She was also a producer on many flagship CBC programs and is now Professor Emerita at the Ryerson School of Journalism. And she joins us now from Toronto for an update. Hi, Suanne. How are you holding up in all of this?
I'm holding up just fine. Well, it's not all that different from the life I was leading before because I'm retired.
Very nice. Well, it's nice to have you on the show. Life indeed has been very different during this pandemic. And one of the joys that people seem to have discovered is birding. Why do you think birding has seen more people, excuse the pun, flocking to this pastime?
Well, it makes perfect sense. I think that we were deprived of going outside for a while. The weather, at least in southern Ontario, was not great this spring. You're cooped up all day. And I think you go outside and your senses are sharpened in a way that they aren't when you're dulled by the routine of work and commuting and all of that. And I think the sense that these things are in danger has also created an appetite for them. I wish it were not so, but we know that the birding populations are down. People have read about that. The sense that this is something we could lose, I think, makes it seem much more valuable.
You've been ahead of the curve when it comes to birding, and you've been doing this for many decades. What drew you to this pastime? Or do we even call it a sport?
I certainly wouldn't call it a sport. I think I have evolved as a birder in ways that I think are important. It can be treated almost as a sport by what we call listers, the kind of people who just want to tick off a bird they haven't seen before or a bird that's in a place where it doesn't belong. I had tendencies that way when I was younger, I confess it. But I don't do that anymore. I just like seeing birds, watching different behavior. And I think that part is important. If you look at somewhere like Point Pelee, I think we're loving it to death. I think there's a lot to be said for enjoying birds where you are and not being quite so eager to fill in a few more spaces on that life list.
Would it be then fair to say that how you've seen it evolve over the decades? Initially, it might have been a sport where people went to do it for a certain reason, but now the conservation aspect of it, we're actually harming the environment in a sense because there's more of us invading that territory.
That's the negative change. There are positive changes too. And the traditional stereotype of the birder is an aging, bald, white guy in Bermuda shorts with a funny walk. Now you go down to the Leslie Street Spit in Toronto, and it's an extremely diverse crowd. Now, some of them are there to ride their bikes as fast as possible, and I hate those people. But the people who are out watching birds, they come from everywhere. They're all ages. I've taken children down there and they love it. And I see other people with children. In my own neighborhood, I joined a couple, a very young child and her father, I would think Chinese origin, who were speculating on a bird that was high on a tree that I hadn't even noticed. And we had a lovely conversation about what it could possibly be and why it was behaving in an untypical manner. I think that one of the great things about birding is there is nowhere in Ontario that you can't do it. And all you do need a pair of binoculars, I think, to do it properly. It helps to have a field guide, but that's it. The competitive birders you see with the vests, with all the pockets and the enormous camera and the lenses, you don't have to do that. It's like running. All you need is the shoes. You need the binoculars, and it's useful to have a book. Of course, you can also just look stuff up on the net and argue with other people about what you've seen, which turns you into a bickering birder.
I can see the appeal of birding for kids because it's something that I do with my own kids because they're just so curious about the world. And they're so fascinated with things that us as grown-ups, maybe we're not paying attention to. So I can see the appeal of that. But what some people might be watching this and think that birding just sounds extremely boring. What do you think the appeal is to beyond just getting outside, but what do you think the appeal is to just kind of do this on a regular basis and become so good that you can actually identify the different species?
Well, there's the sense of accomplishment that you can identify them. And I think that's a good way to get kids in, to how many birds, different kinds of birds can you see, how many can you identify. Certainly that's how I got a couple of the great nephews interested in it, giving them both lists and I'm afraid encouraging their competitive instincts. Here's what I like about it. It's like meditation. If you're going to watch birds, you go out into a natural environment and you need to be very alert and in a very generalized way. You're looking for movement, you're listening for sound. You have to train your memory, which at my age is very useful. If you're musical, you have a better shot at being able to identify bird songs and remembering which one sounds like this, so what that bird that's hiding is going to be. It's good for a whole bunch of skills that we know are good for us. And it gets you out in nature and paying attention. The late Graham Gibson, Margaret Atwood's husband, wrote a book about how healing nature is, and TVO, I think, ran a lecture that he gave on this. And I think the pandemic has taught us this, that the deprivation of any kind of natural surrounding is really bad for us. And one of the antidotes to the screen time and the isolation that we're all going through now is to get out there and look at something that's not us. Birds are very much not us, and that's healthy to recognize that.
And it's also helpful, I guess, because the lockdown happened around the time when they would be very busy themselves. And when we think about the amount of species that we have in Ontario, I think we live in one of those provinces that we're just so spoiled for nature. Is Ontario losing species?
We are losing some, but I think even more dramatically, the numbers are declining for many species. People may not be aware of it because some of the ones that are around all year are doing fine. When I was a kid, we saw robins only in the spring. That's when they arrived. Now you'll see trees covered with snow and filled with robins because they're sticking around all winter. But a lot of other species are in big trouble. And that's because of loss of habitat, because of the pesticides, and making people more aware of that would be really good too. And we know that you can bring some of them back. Some of the water birds are doing much better. In the case of cormorants, for example, because of a really aggressive campaign. And while as a birder, I'm not crazy about hunters, I have to say that there are at least 2 organizations of duck hunter, waterfowl hunters, who have done a terrific job of protecting habitat.
Well, recently, a Black man by the name of Christian Cooper was out bird watching in the Ramble, a part of Central Park in New York City, and he saw a white woman with a dog that wasn't on a leash. He asked her to put on a leash, as dogs are required to be on leashes at all times in that part of the park. It's popular for bird watching. Let's take a look at what happened.
I'm sorry, I'm in the Ramble, and there is a man, African American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
There's a lot in that video that is disturbing and upsetting with the way she treated that gentleman and the way she was treating her own pet. But something that seemed to surprise some was that the Black gentleman was a bird watcher. What does that reaction say to you?
It says that this is exactly the stereotype that woman was trying to use. The idea that if a Black man was in Central Park, it could be for no good purpose. It could only be for crime. This is a stereotype that I find all the time in a much more benign form. I just had someone who is from a third world country explain to me that people like him aren't interested in nature and birding, and they don't want to go camping because they associate tents with refugee camps. And that is undoubtedly true for some people. On the other hand, I bet a lot of them come from families where people, without being at all self-conscious about it, watched birds at home. The good thing that came out of that horrible, vicious Central Park incident is that Black birders became aware that there are Black birders, and they're forming at least one organization now to support one another. That ghastly woman, Amy Cooper's idea that the police would, of course, believe that the man was in Central Park, Christian Cooper is his name, for a bad purpose. That plays off on the stereotype that Black people are purely urban. I encountered it in a harmless, though silly form when I started birding. My father said, Jews don't bird. They don't hike, they don't scuba dive, they don't go birding. This is not true. Anyone can do these things. One of the things we have to get rid of in the fight against racism is the idea that certain activities in certain spaces are appropriate for some groups and not others, especially if they are public places.
Public spaces are indeed.
That's my take on that.
And public spaces are indeed for everybody. I have 30 seconds left. If someone is watching this and they're thinking about taking on bird watching, what do you think? What advice would you give them? The most important things to consider?
Go somewhere quiet where there aren't a lot of people and where there's some trees, and stay still and watch. I think that that's another useful skill that you can pick up. I was so still last week that a chipmunk started digging around about my feet. I think it thought I was a tree. And that's when you get to see birds.
That's exciting. I'll be out in the summer with my kids because they love it. They are so still sometimes that the birds actually come to the palm of their hand, which is so magical to see. Suanne Kelman, thank you. Isn't it amazing? I'll show you one video that I took of them. Suanne, thank you so much for taking some time for us. We really appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Nam. This was lovely.
The Agenda in the Summer with Nam Kiwanuka is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario, and by viewers like you. Thank you.